Hello, everyone. Here we are again for another episode of Giggles and Growth, the lighthearted adventures of feeling mentally empowered through the tough stuff. And today I wanted to sort of delve into um, tending to self awareness. What's happening, and I find that's happening not only with my clients, with the collective, with the energy that's out there, because I definitely work with energy. If you're only new to me, that is what I do and I love to do. And now energy is many things. However, I really help people work with the energy so the energy works for them, for what they're choosing and for what they're discovering about themselves. So I wanted to the topic of tending to our self-awareness was something that I just wanted to sort of bring into the picture right now, because there's so much going on right now around we need to grow and we need to transform and we need to do all these things. And yes, 100%. We are here to grow into something more than we have been or had been, whether that's last year, you know what, even yesterday, right? There's a continual process that's happening when you allow yourself to step into this beautiful self awareness. And if you've been watching other episodes, and if you haven't, you might want to just pick up some of the other ones where I really hone in on a few of the reasons why I created the channel, and created the channel in the way that I did, meaning the mental, the emotional, and that empowerment and the energy that's happening behind it, and how this becoming happens. When and not only from the guests that I've had the pleasure of spending time with and having conversations to help you yourselves and myself to open up into more of what we haven't seen about ourselves, right? Or potentially that we want to dig in a little bit more. And I say dig in because it is a beautiful process the more you do it. It certainly can come with pain, right? It's meant to, right? We need both ends of the spectrum. We would know pleasure without knowing pain. The thing is, what comes up a lot of times is around the inadequacies and the abandonment issues, because those are where we hold deep fear within us, and that causes us to be afraid to move forward in many ways until we continue to become more self-aware, open ourselves up to see and experience what's really going on, and having that intention to keep us moving in the direction. I've been working with some interesting clients of late, and it's there's an interesting theme that is coming up around those deeper wounds, because again we're at levels depending where we are in our awakening process, if I use it that way. What's happening is we really start to open to ourselves, the cosmic energy, and what the collective is moving through. So, right now, the collective is moving through experiences where it wants us to be more harmonious, right? It wants us to also step into more of what is this next version for myself, a new sense of identity. And when I say that, that can bring up many things, many forms, and a lot of people maybe don't know how to get into that again. Deeper work that takes a different intentionality. The tending to, however, is the key in all of this. The tending to, meaning, you know what? We're going to give ourselves the patience. We're going to be tender and kind to ourselves as we move through this. At the same time, when we come out of those periods of being tender and kind, we're going to use the fuel, right, that rises up for us at that moment, in and towards what we're here to create, what we're choosing to create, right? So this comparison that the world is under right now, and I've experienced it 100%. I would not deny that. And if you were in my container, you would hear more sort of, I guess I would say more of my experiences, because I tend to be a little more vulnerable in the private spaces and containers with my clients. However, I'm certainly open to share. So you're more than welcome to ask questions. The idea being we only know ourselves. And when we get really, really honest with ourselves and become vulnerable inside of us and softer inside of us and break out of those, that restriction and that contraction that's holding us in, we're able to continue to take new breath into what's happening, what's unfolding for us, right? And we can tend to it. Things in nature, if we use nature as a beautiful, I'm not going to say just metaphor to everything because we are nature, right? It's things in nature don't just burst all the time. Not every tree is doing, not every flower is, not every vegetable, right? There's that, we need to tend to it, right? We need to water it, give it warmth, give it love. And as humans, we also want to understand that we have 12 different aspects of our lives that are going on all at the same time. Now, if you're not sure what the 12 are, in the most simplest form, I guess I will use astrology as a methodology to look at. So if you look at each of the astrological houses, they each have an aspect of our lives that we can work through. So that's an easy way for people to go discover more if they're choosing. One, not one of a piece of what I wanted to share though today was also around what I have found to be really getting into that key and core of ourselves, right? That true self center, the heart of who we are. And thank you for you know what? StreamYard and Zoom and all these things are doing these fabulous things. So thank you for the fireworks. If you saw them, I hope you did. If you didn't, well, then I just enjoyed a little firework display. Compliments of StreamYard. Anyway, I want to just step into the 8, I'm going to say key areas that I invite you to explore, or join me in any of my work to help you uncover these aspects deeper. The first one I'm going to speak to just ever so briefly is around your authenticity. Now it's come up in actually it came up in one of last week's episodes. However, I want to just pull it apart a little bit more, which is the authenticity in you and your unique contribution to the world. And I'm going to use contribution. However, I'm also inviting you not to like shy away from, wow, contribution seems so big and that can bring up so much. 100%. 100%. Our subconscious, right, holds 97% of what's going on inside of our body and all of these limitations and perceptions and things. However, your unique impact out in the world, and that can be as simple as what's going on with your family to as big as, you know what, I have this mission that I have that, you know what, I am drawn to, or I've created a container. And how do we be authentic and use our unique contribution to create a better humanity? So that's one of them. Two would also be your own personal narrative. Okay. And I really, that's a big one when it comes to our self-awareness. Because in that, I'm going to say personal narrative is what will arise in those stories, perceptions, those limitations that we have. And being able to navigate a sense of forgiveness. I'm going to use forgiveness just again simplistically today, which is forgiving you for either not knowing, not understanding what the outcome would be, or you know what, the judgment that you placed on another, the projection you placed on another. When we come back into more and more of our personal narrative, again, we are working on these 8 keys, sort of, or these 8 codes around getting to that truth of you that resides greatly in your heart. Forgiveness is and will be something that you, should you choose, like to explore more and more. It is one of my greatest tools, one of the I will say one of the greatest things that allowed me to and continues to allow me to have a much deeper compassion for all of humanity, and definitely starting with myself, because I am the firm believer that we need to do it here before we put it out there. And in so doing, it's because that vibration that we're sending out is so very key. So the third thing, because I do want to make this sort of a 20-minute episode like the others. But the third one would be um, our connection to the greater source, right? Our connection to something that's bigger than us and the very spirit, the breath of life that moves us, that moves each of us to our heart, right? Moves in our heart, brings us back into our heart, opens us to that very loving nature and that wholeheartedness, and that courage to lead with our heart. Again, it takes opening the heart, and coaxing it open, depending where you are on your journey and depending which of those 12 aspects you might be in, or that you've been siloing. I was somebody that used to silo, when in fact we're all of that, right? So yeah, learning a sense of discernment for yourself, and how do you connect with the greatness, and the very breath of life, that holy self, that breath that comes into you. Okay. Number four, your vitality. Okay, big one. And when I say that, I want to go even deeper, which is the embodiment of your senses, right? The true sensual nature of physically being here on this earth, and the fact that we do have these five senses that we can put into practice and use as part of that fueling. However, to do all of this embodiment, we need to be in those bodies, right? We want to stay in the body. Again, something I wasn't good at, and now I love that I get to support others in doing that, because our body has a language of its own, and our mind has a mind of its own, until we learn how to navigate and come to a great sense of joy with it, and then our emotions as this fuel to move us forward. So, number five, we hear gratitude, and I definitely want to encourage that 100%. We need such gratitude for everything that's unfolding around us. By allowing and being receptive to whatever comes in, be it what we might want to say is negative versus positive, when we come into that, being grateful for whatever it is and seeing those aspects as true support for us on our path towards the trajectory of what we're here to become, whether that, whatever that is for everyone, for those that have this vision that they're going towards, to those that have a mission, whatever that is for each of you. And if you don't know where and what your purpose is, again, come into my container. I'm here to help you move through that process. But it really is to see the gratitude and the allowance and the receptivity of whatever might seem negative or positive, fully as support, right? Supporting you on your way. Okay. And then we have how we share that, how we put that out into the world. Because when we can share with our heart in a way that really brings people together, and honors it, again, when you do it for you, and from that space of gathering, allowing others on their own journey, yes, and really honoring who may be coming into your container, whether they stay for a short time or a long time, and just really honoring what we have been given, that we can share that out into the world, because that will open up our own hearts even more. That will connect us to wider and greater connection in the greater field, the matrix, whatever that is for you, what that means for you. And again, if you're still a little confused by this, just reach out and ask. Then I want to get into self-love, which is probably the biggest. And I say, when I do that, and I say coming into the self, all eight of these keys or codes, huge. I will stand 100% behind the self love, because you are loving your human self, right? And you're loving the direction and guidance of the greater self, right? The mind that knows more than we do. Our little human only knows so much. We've just been taught by society that we're supposed to know everything, when in fact you have a beautiful beautiful, loving source moving through you when you open up this heart and lead with this heart. So self love, self love, self love. I can't say it more than ever and ever and ever, because you will continue to come back. That love of you, and allowing others to love themselves. Because when we get into that joy of loving ourselves, oh my gosh, do we want nothing more than another person to love themselves so much and exude and ooze that out? And last, I will use last, however, it is not least, these eight are sort of this simultaneous opening up this heart of you, which is the equal voice and the empowerment. Now, I know equal voice can mean many things to people. However, it really is, how are you self empowering? How are you feeling empowered? And how are you using that empowerment, again, through your heart, to support others in their own journey, to make that unique contribution, to honor the rest of humanity, to be a part of the humanity that you want to experience now, and that you're leaving for your children, your children's children. And I want to, whether you have children or not, that is not what I'm speaking of. I am speaking it of the ripple effect and the seeds that you're planting and the creations that you create. Because a child that you are birthing could very well, and as a man, you may not, or a woman, I don't have children as yet, I may never. The creative source of something that we put out into the world, be it a podcast, be it your business, be it something that you're an artist, you're a jewelry maker, whatever it is, right? You're a politician, whatever you're creating is still your baby in some regard, and yet it's really fueled by your nourishing it, your tenderness, your action behind it. Are those things coming from this beauty that you want humanity to continue, or is it coming from something that isn't really in that wholeness of you? um it all of a sudden wanted to take me down the road of AI, and I'm not going to add that here. However, AI is a beautiful opening potentially into another podcast episode to discover, how do we use AI when it comes to our hearts and our humanity, because it's here, it's not going anywhere. It's when we use it, I might just add from my perspective at this point where I am with it, when we use it again to fuel the very human part of us. We are human. I am all about this, right? We came into this body to experience, not to simply be. Um, I'm going to use AI as a term in terms of artificial intelligence, robotics, that type of thing, right? I want you to feel the very visceral emotions that your soul came here to experience. Anyway, all that to say, there's lots to tend to in this beautiful life, and in this self awareness, self discovery, self acceptance journey that I've invited you into with this podcast. And as we get into greater self mastery, you're never done. You just get to become more and more and more, and be easy with yourself, right? You are where you are. Love it. When we love it and learn how to, and are supported either with mentors or guides, facilitators, and then by a community, and then by a collaboration with others. When we continue to do that and bring ourselves out and end the hiding of who we are, we start to rest into our bodies more and into that beautiful wholeness that's living inside of you. So may you rise to the occasion of whatever your identity is, wanting you to become. I'm going to do that because when we stay in the old identity, it can keep us stuck in comfort zones and in old habits and old patterns. And it's just, again, an opportunity to look at, does that need a tweak? Does that need something to shift, change, transform, that's allowing me to flourish in this glorious, glorious world, and in this definite, this human physical body that you came in to explore life with? So, sending you so much love. Sending you laughter. I don't know. We laughed a little bit, but I'm just, there's so much here. And it really, when you do all of these things together, you start to light yourself up in a new way, and that is where the laughter resides. So smiling for me when it's deep, and I am, because I'm feeling it through my whole body as this beautiful my heart is opening while I'm speaking here. So it's in that the laughter resides. So keep giggling, keep growing, and keep shining bright, and keep tending to the very essence of you. All my love. We will see you on another episode. Take great care. Bye.